When you say the mind needs to drop into the heart, what is it that drops into the heart? Is it the awareness? Is it the consciousness? Is it the intellect? What is it that drops into the heart?
It's the limitation that drops into the heart. There are a number of great traditions that speak of consciousness contracting to become our minds. When, the sense of the mind being in the heart is a bit of a euphemism. It's a bit of a false description. What really goes on is that we're actually in our hearts. That's where our soul is. That's where we come from. If you look at all these traditions around the world, great traditions, they have the same image of their saint holding the brilliant heart, the sacred heart of Jesus. In Christianity, you'll see the same pictures of Buddha in Japan holding the flame of the heart. Because this is where the soul is. This is where you actually are. This is why the heart is so important. This is why you feel things so much in your heart. And what happens is that when people lose that connection, then they start to go into their heads. Then they start to lose their connection to the heart. And so it's not so much about, well, how does the mind go to the heart? How does the mind do that? It's not the mind that does things. The mind is just an instrument. And sometimes it takes over, and you think that's all it is. The mind is a little bit like middle management in a company. After a while, when middle management becomes big enough, it thinks it is the company, but it's not. The owner is the company, or something else is the company. Your soul is the company, not your mind. But you start to lose connection with your soul, with your heart, and then you think you are the mind. And then you become contracted. And you become contracted to the past, to all your wounds, to all your buttons.
So in this book that you wrote, Beng Centered, how does that help us, the reader, allow the mind to drop into the heart?
It's a funny thing. Most people don't want to drop, no matter what. People call a situation where they open up to somebody falling in love. Poop. Nobody wants to do that. And so it's probably a bad illustration of the whole process. It's the opposite. It's an expansion. It's an expansion from being caught in the past to living in the present moment.